Happy New Year, everybody. It's your boy AK Infinity. This is the Rockets Propaganda Channel. Hope everybody is nice and safe. Hope you made it home happy. Hope you had a good night. Hope you ain't too drunk, because we about to get into some New Year's resolutions for the Houston Rockets. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let's go ahead and get into it. But before we get started, hit that like button because you like the video. Now let's go.
Drop this in the...
First New Year's resolution. Man, we really gotta get Cam Whitmore and Amen Thompson some more playing time. Amen Thompson, he is in the rotation and he was to start the season. Problem with that though was he got hurt, I think in the Charlotte game, and then he was out for, I think it was a good, close to about 15 games. He was out for a little bit, and you know, he was in the G League, he was assigned to the G League down there, and he was a Cam for a little bit. And he was doing the damn thing down there. He was hooping. Like he was really hooping, putting up stupid numbers, as you would expect for somebody as talented as him. Go down there in the G League, and him and Cam was just acting a slap fool on everybody. So, Amen Thompson for real got to get some more playing time, especially in the second half, because in that first half, he'll come in, play his normal 8 minutes, and then that's it. At most, he'll play 10 minutes. But we got to get more. We got to get some more Amen Thompson. Yeah, he look a little bit rough when he in there, but he gonna look like that unless he can play some of that rust off. You know what I mean? I know Aaron Holiday is, I guess, the backup point guard. I guess he's the backup point guard. The way they use him, he's like the backup point guard. Aaron Holiday ain't a point guard. No, he's not. He a guard who likes to shoot. Not necessarily a shooting guard, but not a point guard. Anyway, yeah, let's get Amen Thompson some more minutes, man. I think his playmaking, we've seen some flashes of it this season. You've seen how athletic he is. You've seen how he gets out and guards on the perimeter, on the defensive end as well. I would expect him to get some more playing time after maybe the trade deadline, because I do believe, you know, guys like Tate and Aaron Holiday might get, you know, shipped off in some kind of other deal, which brings me to Cam Whitmore. And I think Tate is the reason why Cam Whitmore not getting no playing time at the moment. Like, he's not in the rotation at all. Even with Dillon Brooks being out right now, he should be in the rotation, but he's not. Ime says a numbers crunch, but one of the numbers is gone, and he's still getting crunched out. So, make it make sense, Ime. I love what you're doing with the guys you got right now. I like the personality of the team. But you got to make that one make sense for us, bro. Get Cam Whitmore on the court. His shooting look good. His defense, his individual defense, I think some of the stuff that he could be improving on would improve with playing time. Yeah, he'll bite on pump fakes. You can coach that out of him. Yeah, he might miss some assignments. You can coach that out of him. But as far as the effort goes, same thing with Amen Thompson. The effort for both of these guys on both ends does not wane. So we know that part of the game isn't something we got to worry about with them too. Next New Year's resolution: Alpi, Jalen, and Jabari. We got to get these three playing well together and in sync. Much in the same way the Golden State Warriors always had Steph, Klay, and Draymond playing well together. We got to find a way to get these three in constant actions together. Some of it, I don't really worry too much about LP. He's kind of established himself as he might be the alpha on this team, as far as the go-to guy. However, Jalen has shown flashes in the past, not a whole lot this season, but he's shown flashes of being an alpha scorer, especially being a go-to guy down the stretch to take a big shot and make a big shot. And the same with Jabari. So none of these guys are guys who's kind of afraid of taking the last shot in the game. All these guys can go off in an individual game, but the trick is to get all three of them playing well together at the same time. The way they're using Jabari now, kind of exploiting the mismatches when they put like little guards on him, in the mid range and in the mid post, sometimes in the high post too. That fadeaway looks beautiful. I like that. With LP, anybody you put on them, they're gonna have to deal with them in their post. We got to figure out where we can use Jalen to exploit defenses as well. That's gonna be like the next step for him in this offense. He's been struggling this season, as we all know, and we've been seeing some horrible discourse on Rockets Twitter about it. But whatever. But it's looking like he's kind of starting to snap out of it a little bit as of late. He and Alpi just had a good game together against the 76ers. We lost. There was a little controversy at the end of the game about what Jalen should have done with the last shot. I'm with a camp where he probably should have took the shot because he was already hot. Go ahead and jack that thing up. But I'd never get mad at somebody for making the right play. Pass it to Jock. You had Aaron Holiday in the deep corner, and you had Fred on the wing. It was pick one. He didn't pick either. He tried to shoot a layup. But whatever. If you Jalen Green, you're supposed to be that guy, go on and shoot that ball. I ain't mad at you, but shoot that ball in that situation. Yeah, you made the right play, but yeah, in basketball terms, but end of the game, know your personnel, know who you are. I know what the coach said, but a lot of the greatest players, they go away from whatever the hell the coach said, and they're like, yeah, screw that. This is my team, I'm taking this shot. You've heard Hakeem said, you've heard Kobe said, you've heard everybody said. But yeah, Ime got to find a way to use all three of these guys in sync together. I think part of the problem too is both Jalen and Jabari are a little bit too respectful of the veterans. They kind of take a back seat to the veterans kind of willingly. They need to take control, take your spot. Y'all were drafted high for a reason. Number 2 for Jalen, number 3 for Jabari. He was drafted that high for a reason. Come in and make sure that these veterans coming in to help you and not overtake you. We're not doing that down here. Nah. But that's on Ime to figure that out. I got some ideas, but y'all gonna need to pay me. Third New Year's resolution. We need to continue to maintain the top 10 defense throughout the rest of the season, throughout at least the regular season. We gotta do that. It is critical. It is completely critical, especially if we want to make the postseason. So, as of late, the Rockets have their defense is starting to slip a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily a personnel issue. I think it's more scouting report. It's that point in the season where scouting reports are starting to become more defined on what teams like to do and what they don't like to do, what they do well, what they don't do well. So it's become quite apparent with the Rockets where if you run a pick and roll, it's two things. If you run a pick and roll, their pick and roll defense is solid. But if you pick and roll and you slip the screen, Rockets are susceptible to that. Another thing they're susceptible to is relocating. Like if somebody's getting up, once a player gets off the ball, if they get double teamed to get off the ball and they relocate, that person is often, left open. Even if they're not double teamed, if they just get off the ball, if they don't have nothing, they get off the ball, they make a quick. If they go and even set a off-ball go screen and slip that, that person ends up getting open. We saw a lot of that in the Indiana game. We saw a lot of that with the 76ers as well. So, yeah, and then for the most part, it's been a common theme of the Rockets being susceptible to people who, like, elite guards who are maestros in the pick and roll, especially in particular. I don't know why that is. Now, in the 76ers game, you can say, well, Dillon Brooks didn't play. So, you still was having the same problems with Dillon Brooks when he was playing. So we can't say it's a Dillon Brooks thing being injured. We can't say it's a Jabari thing being injured. Nah, we're not using that as no excuse. We're not doing that. So I just think it's gonna be a matter of, more attention to detail. That on a homestand right now, you would think, being able to have some practice time and all that'll be, kind of, patched up a little bit. But that part of the defense is still leaky. We're still a top 5 defense. I think we're number 5 exactly. But we need to maintain at least a top 10. We can't sit here and say any of us really expected, well, most of us, I'd say, did not expect the Rockets to have a top 10 defense this year. We was expecting the middle of the pack. We were expecting the middle of the pack defense and maybe a top 10-ish offense. And it's really kind of been the opposite. We've had a top 5 defense for the most part this season and a bottom 8 offense. Offense is a little predictable, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, the defense needs to maintain a top 10 status for us to be able to make it to the postseason. I ain't talking playing, I'm talking playoffs. At this point, the Rockets have updated us and let us know that in unison for the most of the fans, we thought 35 games was reasonable. 35 to 38 games. Nah, we up on that now. We gotta update. We gotta put out an update, man. Update is playoffs, and in the playoffs you're probably gonna need at least 44 wins, I would say. That's just a guess of mine. I don't know how real that's gonna end up being, but without playing defense well, without sticking to that top 10 status, I don't know how we're gonna do that. But the slippage as of late is a little concerning, but I'm not too concerned given, when you do a zoom out and look at the big picture, we wasn't supposed to be this good in the first place. So we still headed in the right direction, but let's not rest on our laurels on defense and think people just gonna come bow down to the Rockets' vaunted defense. Nah, we still gotta pay attention to detail. I think that's kind of the next step. A lot of it to me is the communication part. When somebody is ghosting and screaming, first of all, you gotta be aware of it because you know that's a weakness of yours. You know it. When they slipping these screens, you gotta somebody who's on the off the ball or outside of the action needs to call that out. But anyway, that's the third New Year's resolution. Let's move on to the next. Fourth New Year's resolution for the Rockets. Gotta play some more in transition, man. Gotta play some more in transition. Our half-court offense is a little bit too predictable. It's Fred and LP pick and roll, and whatever happens after that, off that action. That's what seems to be our offense. That's really what it is. It's very simplistic. Even when they're running the pick and roll, there's no cutting off the ball. There's no setting off-ball screens for somebody else to get open. There's nothing. There's none of that. No variation. Nothing. It's just pick and roll, Fred, LP, and everybody else just figure it out. The defense has figured that out too. The defense has certainly figured that out. So my suggestion is we got to play some more in transition. We got to play some more in transition, man, because that offense is just a little bit too, like I said, man, it's too easy to guess. It's too easy to predict, man. Play some more in transition, and that's on, to me, I'm going to say this. This is on Jabari and Alpi. Them the two guys grabbing the most rebounds. It's simple. We got to do some more of the kick ahead pass, man. Some more outlet passing. You grab the rebound, and then also on the wings too. And the wings and the guards, like they gotta get open. They gotta get them a passing lane to get that kick ahead pass. That needs to be emphasized at practice. Hopefully they can. I mean, they did a little bit of it against Philly. They was doing a little bit more of that. They've been doing a better job of it sort of lately. With Jabari out, I don't know how that's gonna work though, because Jabari is our best rebounder, and if Jeff Green is gonna start for him, that's gonna be a little bit tougher to do. He's a little older. He's probably not gonna want to play as fast. But you would think, as young as some of these guys are, they would want to play fast. They really need to play a lot faster, man. With Fred VanVleet at the point guard, we're gonna run a very safe offense. We're gonna take a lot less risks. Now you're also gonna turn the ball over a lot less as well, which I can't be mad at. I'll never be mad at that. But you gotta find a balance, right? You gotta find a balance. Like I said in a previous segment, in order to get Jabari, Şengün, and Jalen all playing together, I think a good way to do that is in transition. It's a very good way to do that because when these guys are running, they're hard to stop. These guys are young. They got legs, man. Jabari and Alpi especially, even after that outlet pass, they got to sprint from rim to rim because when there's a trailer, when your big man is running like that to the paint, somebody has to commit. So that's gonna open one or two things. Either the big man is gonna get the ball and mash that thing, or a transition three. At the worst, in the mid break, you can get into a real quick pick and roll and make something happen out of that. But you gotta play faster, but it starts with the rebounds. Gotta do a kick ahead pass, outlet pass, and let the chips fall from there. But Jabari and Alpi especially, them two have to sprint from rim to rim in order to make that thing work. Fifth New Year's resolution. We gotta get more creative with these lineups, man. Now the starting lineup, I don't have no problem with it. It makes sense. That makes the absolute most sense. But I kinda understand where Ime is thinking. He's thinking, let's have the most balanced lineup out there at every moment. I understand. Trust me, I do understand. However, with your balance and with these scouting reports being updated, you got to do something and switch something up a little bit. We need to have more lineups where, think about it. How many times have we really seen Jabari at center this year? Not really a whole lot. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. It's really just been Jeff being the full-time backup center for the most part, unless there's foul trouble and then Yuck Landale comes in. But for the most part, the lineups have been very uncreative, man. I mean, I've seen one time where Ime did trot out Alpi, Jeff, and Jabari together at the same time, with Jabari, of course, being at the 3. And also I've seen him trot out Fred, Dylan, Tari, Jabari, and Alpi out there as a closing lineup a few times. I've seen that. That's cool, but if we saying that we really wanna, spice up the offense a little bit and try to, play a little faster, play a little differently, just add some diversity. We gotta get more creative. I suggest, I give you a good example. If y'all notice that Amen Thompson don't really come in for Fred VanVleet. He's either coming in for maybe Dylan or maybe Jalen, but it's Aaron Holiday that's coming in for Fred VanVleet. How about let's really run Amen Thompson out there at the point sometime? Let's do that sometime. Why not have a lineup of, let's say we want to, go super athletic, and let's go with Alpi. No, not Alpi. Let's go with Amen Thompson and Jalen in the backcourt, Tari, let's say, Jay Sean and Jabari. If we want to play a little faster, I would think that lineup would play a little faster, and they can still defend some. If you want to go all defense, you could go with maybe we can go with that lineup, the closing lineup they've been going out with, which is fine. The Fred, Dylan, Tari, Jabari, and Şengün lineup to close games. I don't mind that. But what about some more lineups with Jabari at the center, at the center spot, Amen Thompson at the point, and then try to fill in the gaps from there? I would assume that lineups like that would play a little faster. Hell, I'd even go as far as to say maybe sometimes even running Jalen out there at the point. If it's a matchup that you think you can get away with it, I'd run Jalen out there at the point and just see what happens. Sometimes. Now I know we're trying to win. I understand that, but at the same time, everybody else is updated their scouting report. You got to update your lineups. You got to do a little something, a little different. That's all I'm saying. But on to the next one. Here's a very important part. A very important New Year's resolution, man. This is critical, absolutely critical. So we had a really good offseason, I would say, but the work don't stop there. This trade deadline is very important, and I would say might be vital to how the rest of the rebuild is going to look. So that's Tillman Fertitta, Patrick Fertitta, that's Rafael Stone, and that's Ime Udoka communicating to those guys, letting them know what he needs, how guys are progressing, and being transparent about that. I don't have no doubt that that's what's going on right now. Everything indicates that they have a very good relationship. They communicating well, and it seems like Stone has been getting him what he needs when he needs it. look at the summer moves that we made. Look at some of the moves that we didn't make. But any move this trade deadline should absolutely not tamper with any of the core six, unless it's a deal where, damn, I really can't pass this up because this is too good to be true. Like if we fleecing somebody and all we gotta do is give up one of the core six, all right. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's like the only scenario. Because this year we getting an actual, I would say we really getting to get a good evaluation of our young guys for the most part. Save for Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore. But as far as Tari, Jabari, Sengun, and Jalen goes, we're really getting to see what they look like in a winning environment. We need at minimum one season of all of those guys together, a minimum of one season of all of those guys together before we can make a decision on any of them. So that's critical. Sometimes the moves you make at the trade deadline are the ones you don't make. Sometimes you don't do anything. I'm not saying Rafael Stone should do nothing, but you don't make stupid moves. Sometimes that's what you need, is to not make a stupid move. Maybe not to move a certain guy. But I know a lot of the fan base has been, wanting Jock and Tate traded for something else. What that something else is, I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be. We have some good assets, but Jock, Tate, the Oladipo contract, and a couple seconds is what I would think is the package we're gonna be dangling in front of teams at the trade deadline. Maybe to a contender that may need to bolster their bench a little bit. Tate could probably help somebody coming off the bench as a good defensive player. And then they could possibly get some salary relief with the Oladipo contract coming up in the summer. That's an expiring. I think the Landale, might be a team option. I think they may be able to get off of that one too in the summertime. But I think that's going to be the trade package. It's going to have to be a deal along the margins. It's not going to be a blockbuster deal, I don't think. But backup big, I'm not going to say backup center, but backup big is going to be very important. I can see backup guard too. Aaron Holiday's been all right. He been cool defensively and shooting, but sometimes he be thinking his first name is Drew when his first name is actually Aaron. Yeah, you a Holiday, but you're not Drew. You need to calm that down a little bit. I've heard a lot of Tyus Jones. People don't like Tyus Jones. People like him. I think he'd be a good fit in the backcourt. I just think we need to use Amen Thompson a little bit more in that backcourt too. But anyway, I've heard Daniel Gafford is another one, both with the Wizards. But Daniel Gafford, I don't know that that's gonna work. It'll work on the court, but I don't know how much that'll make sense for the Wizards or for Daniel Gafford himself, because he's a starting center. I don't think he's no backup center. He's a starting center. He may come and accept the backup role with the Rockets for a little bit, and then he gonna wanna, go somewhere where he gonna get some more playing time. How much playing time is he really gonna get behind Sengun? Especially if he's only gonna be playing center. Now, if he could shoot a little bit, I could see them getting away with playing Gafford a little bit at the 4 with Sengun. But I can deal with that as a backup center as opposed to running Jeff into the ground so much and playing Jock Landale at all. We don't win any minutes when Jock Landale on the court. We just don't. But this trade deadline is very important. The move we make this trade deadline, like I said, is going to set up the rest of the rebuild for real. It is critical that we don't make any, bonehead, asinine moves. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not with this new regime. They've actually grown a little bit. They used to make some silly moves. Well, in hindsight, they were silly. But I think with Ime Udoka as the coach, he's really the face, I would say, of some of that decision making, because they paid him a good amount of money. It's a good idea to maybe, take his input and pay attention to it. 7 New Year's resolution for the Rockets: make the damn playoffs, man. I don't care about no playing no more. I want the playoffs. Go for broke. I want everything. I want it right, and I want the playoffs right now. I know at the beginning of the season, we was hoping playing. That would have been acceptable. Not with the way we playing. We have, like I said, we'd have updated our resume. The resume been updated. We need some new, we got new requirements now. We playing like a team that should be in the playoffs. We need to make the playoffs. We don't need to let that slip up. And besides, the Oklahoma City Thunder have our pick. I forget the protections on it, but they have our pick. So whatever the protections are on their pick, it's not even worth it to not make to purposely miss the playoffs. It's not worth it. It wouldn't even be worth it. If we even get the pick. I'm not settling for that. Barring something drastic, we need to be in the playoffs. We need to make the playoffs. I don't care what seed it is, but we need to make the playoffs. Sure, we make the play-in. We could play our way into the playoffs. I want to avoid that. I want that at minimum 6 seed. That's what I want. And I don't see a reason why we should not, being as, we already ahead of schedule. Why the hell wouldn't we be able to make the playoffs? I think it's very important for the young guys to smell the playoffs, man. Get a taste of it. See what it look like. See what makes some of these other guys, what they are and who they are. Let them learn from that. I think that's gonna be that's a critical part of young players' development, man. If you look at that OKC team with Russ, Harden, and Durant, remember, James Harden, I think, is the only player in the NBA right now to have never missed the playoffs. He had never missed the playoffs in his life. He had never missed. When he was a rookie, they was in the playoffs. I could see some shades of that with this team. Maybe even having a higher ceiling with this team. But I could see some of that OKC team from this Rockets team as well. So making the playoffs, I think, is very critical, man. I think the players want it. I know Coach Ime Udoka wanted it. He said he's never missed a playoff, and he don't plan on starting there now. I'm with it. That being said, I know in the previous segment I said don't make no stupid moves. Yeah, still don't make no stupid moves, but still try to make the playoffs. I say you can do that internally. You can have some internal growth still during the season. It doesn't have to be because of a trade or whatever the hell. I mean, hell, look what Ime did with that Celtics team and turned them around. It wasn't a trade that made them, it turned them around. It was just coaching. It really was. They made some adjustments and took off from there. Why can't the same thing happen with the Rockets? Sure, it's a different team, different context, and all that. I don't care. Let's make the playoffs. Last New Year's resolution is mostly for Rockets Twitter, Rockets fans in general, because the Rockets discourse has been so terrible. It has been bad. I mean, it's always been iffy, but boy, this season you would think we're the Pistons. We a 500 team right now when we weren't even supposed to be a 500 team at this point in the season, and we got folks talking about trade Jalen Green for Eric Gordon. Man, listen, let me tell y'all something, bro. I don't know if y'all's weed dealer is lacing your thing up with some powder, with some different substances, but you should stop going to them, because some of these takes that I've been seeing on Twitter, some of these trade proposals, they bad. The trade machine is the absolute worst thing to happen to Rockets fans. The absolute worst thing. Because some of y'all go in there thinking that real life and NBA 2K are the same thing. NBA 2K does not translate to real life. Some of these moves that y'all talking about making, yeah, they work in NBA 2K for that one little season that you playing. But in real life, these things don't make sense for that season, the year down the line, the next season, 5 years down the road. None of that. They don't make sense. So, and then the way some of y'all discuss basketball, I know I'm like being a fan police right now, but I don't care. The way some of y'all discuss basketball is just, it's ass to take y'all's words, to take y'all's phrases. The way y'all be talking about basketball is ass. all right, it's one thing to say, oh, this player trash, instead of saying why or how or what they doing wrong, what they should be doing. Because every player in the NBA has something that got them there. So if you actually a fan of basketball, you should be able to watch and spot a talent and say, okay, this player is playing trash right now. He's bad, he's whatever. That's valid. That's valid. But let it be something like, all right, for example, let's use our favorite new whipping boy right now, Jalen Green. He been playing like trash this season. Yes, he has. But just trade him for what? Why are we trading him? Yeah, he been playing like trash, but I'm gonna say why. He missing a lot of these easy shots that he should be making at this point. It's looking like he's starting to turn it around a little bit right now, but yeah, he been missing a lot of easy shots. But at the same time, some of the shots that he been taking, he shouldn't even be taking them, even though they're easy. He should be taking some different type of shots. He ain't coming off of a lot of pin downs and down screens, and he's not really doing a whole lot of off-ball movement and getting the ball going downhill. That's something that I think that would help him, even though he's struggling finishing at the rim. Get there regardless and try to get a foul call from the refs or something. Make something happen. That's basketball discourse, not just this player A sucks. Coach, this one sucks. Say why, man. And some of y'all really can't say why because you don't understand nothing outside of ball in hoop, instead of watching the process of how the ball is supposed to go in the hoop in the first place. When you watch, I've said it before, when you watching basketball, it's one thing to watch what's happening with the person who has the ball. It's a completely different ball game when you watching everything else that's happening outside of the ball, because what's happening off the ball is what's leading to the ball going into the hoop in the first place. You got screens going off the ball. You got the defense making calls. You got off ball reads. Like you got a whole bunch of stuff going on off the ball. I think we need to step up our basketball discourse in 2024, man. I think it's very important. I really do. I think it'll really help the fandom a lot better. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Once again, man, Happy New Year to everybody in the Rockets Kingdom, Rockets fandom. Also, NBA fans, if you're just catching this, trying to see what other fan bases is talking about. Appreciate you for stopping by. If you're still with me at this point, that means you like the video, so go ahead and hit the like button. And, leave a comment down below. Let me know if I missed out on any New Year's resolutions for the Rockets that you guys may think may, have some value. Leave that in the comments down below. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're feeling the content. You can find me on Twitter at AKinfinity_VVS. This is the Rockets Propaganda Channel, and we out.